Hi and welcome. Today I'm going to walk you through how I prepare a new raised bed to grow corn. This is a corn I grew last year, so 2024. I grew it in the ground and this was masa corn and I'm still learning, but I'm just going to show you the process of double digging for this season. So the first thing I did was pick the site. I'm going to be working with the 5 feet wide by 13 feet long bed. And I just removed all the logs, trash, and things that were on this raised bed. After I removed everything, I went ahead and I forked the first few inches of the soil so I could remove the weeds. Once I removed all the weeds and debris, then I started doing double digging. So double digging is the process of digging the first 12 inches of the soil and then you fork the other 12 inches. And then you move the bore a few inches and you move along with moving the soil from one spot to the other spot. I have a really clay soil, so I get this big clumps of soil. This is mainly why I do double digging, to get rid of all those clumps. So I just use the shovel and break them down smaller. Once I've done the double digging, then I make sure the bed is evenly. Okay, so the raised bed is all done and ready to be just water and amend it, and then I can start growing some corn, squash, and beans in here. And it's what they call the three sister because they make a great companions for growing. Give it a good soak. I water it down. This is some of the compost I made. When I start the seeds, I make sure the seeds are planted in really good compost. For this season, I'm going to be planting the seeds 9 inches apart, and that's really close for corn, but I'm experimenting this year. When I plant my corn, I planted in a triangle pattern. That way I can fit more corn in my raised bed. So I make the divots, each divot 9 inches apart. I put the little compost mound. Another thing that I do as I go along, I try my best to write down notes because for me it's easier to forget. For next season, what did I plan, how many, and where. So I always try to keep a notebook next to me to quickly jot down what I'm doing in the garden. This whole bottom is gonna be planted with, let's see what I have here, corn sweet painted hill, and this is to make masa powder. Then the sweet corn, and I don't want them to get shaded by each other, so this is going to be planted at the bottom, and this is going to be planted in the back because the shade in the afternoon goes that way. Anyhow, they're not going to shade each other. That's the point. So yeah, I'm just going to show you how I plant each corn and each of the compost little mounds that I made there. And this corn will mature in between 65 and 80 days. And I got the seeds from Botanical Interest. So I'm not gonna start just yet because it's very dry and I want to get it wet first to give the seeds a better chance of sprouting. So I give it a good soak, and then I make a divot that is 1 inch deep. So I go ahead and then I just put the seed down and gently pat it so it makes good contact with the soil. This is the other variety that I'll be planting as well for the sweet corn. And this corn, all the seeds are yellow and shrivel. Once the seeds are planted, I go ahead and give it a good soak. You want to keep them soaked until they sprout, especially if the weather is getting really hot. You want to keep an eye on the soil to make sure it doesn't get too dry. After 12 days, this is how much the corn had sprouted already. One of the things I did after the corns had sprouted, I forgot to do at the beginning of the raised bed was to apply alfalfa meal. Alfalfa meal provides a lot of nitrogen. Corn is a heavy feeder, so I'm just putting it on the top of the raised bed, and then I'm applying some compost that I bought at the store. I didn't have enough from the one I made, so this was just the compromise for this season. As I'm applying the compost, I make sure to check on each corn, make sure that there's no roots, disturbance. If there's any spots that the corn has not sprouted, just direct sow again some of the seeds into the spots that the corn didn't sprout. I found just the root of the corn. So I just put a seed and I pat it down again, make so it makes good contact with the soil. And in some spots, you can see the little sprout coming out. So I'm just gonna let it be and wait for it and not put another seed. And this one too, that is kind of lopsided, or it just looks kind of funny. What I'm gonna do is just put more soil around it. This is gonna be my experiment corn to see how it does. Thank you for watching and happy gardening.